I wasn't super happy with where I was at in my life, my mental health. And since then I've addressed my mental health and I found out the problems that I have with it. At that stage, I had no idea, that I had mental health problems. So when I started taking drugs, it made me very impulsive, and I'm already a very impulsive person. And it was just, out of control.
Go back to starting modelling again. You said that you were spending a lot of time around people 20 years older than you, and you were kind of doing what they were doing, i.e. drinking and doing drugs. Let's talk about drugs. I presume you can remember taking your first drug?
Yes, I do remember taking my first drug when I was so young. I was 15 years old.
What was it?
It was MDI, actually. And I think I remember smoking a bit of weed at the time as well. And then, it wasn't a serious thing for me until I moved to London. Honestly, I never really, I took it here and there when I was at parties with friends when I was younger, under 18. But
when you first took it, was it kind of being offered onto you by someone in a working environment, or you just in a
when I was 18?
No, when you were 15, 16.
Oh, 15, 16. Oh, no. When I was 15, 16, it was just friends that I was hanging around with at school. And actually, probably was a bit younger, actually. Thinking about it now.
Well, I had Kerry Katone on here a few weeks ago. Yeah. She was saying that she did a first line of coke with her mum at 11 years old.
What? That's crazy.
Because her mum gave it to her and told her it was sherbet.
That's crazy. Oh my God. That's wild. No, mine was not given to me by my mum, but it was literally a bunch of us, just friends and stuff, and we, we'd go to each other's houses, and just one time someone had MDMA and we were like, yeah, let's take it, but we literally stayed in the house, and I remember just not being able to handle it well at all. I remember being so thirsty. I had a saucepan of water and I was just drinking out of it. But at that stage in my life, it wasn't something that I even really cared about. I really enjoyed. I had a very happy childhood mostly, and it wasn't something. I think drugs is mostly when you become addicted to it, or when it becomes a problem, is when something is missing in your life and when you're not happy, because it becomes a substitute for the unhappiness that you feel. And so I never really had an issue with it until I moved to London and I became quite depressed, and that was when it became quite bad, You
became depressed in London and therefore started taking more drugs.
Yeah, so it became something. I wasn't super happy with where I was at in my life, my mental health. And since then I've addressed my mental health and I found out the problems that I have with it. But at that stage, I had no idea, that I had mental health problems. And so when I started taking drugs, it made me very impulsive, and I'm already a very impulsive person. And it was just, out of control.
But did you not find it a vicious cycle as well, that, you're depressed, so you take drugs, but then you take drugs, so you want to come down, which makes you fucking depressed anyway?
Well, I mean, as well, but it's the shame that you feel from taking drugs. But then when you take the drugs again, you stop feeling the shame for a little bit, and then you do, So it's a vicious cycle. But
how long would you consider you had a problem for?
I'm trying to think. Honestly, I don't know if I had so much of a problem with the drugs in itself, more than just I'm very impulsive, and I didn't really know this at the time, but I was really depressed. So I did actually end up going to a treatment centre at the beginning of last year, and I used drugs as more of an escape than it was anything else. And it wasn't even really about the drugs, it was more just about the escape that I needed for myself. I needed to feel like I had some sort of control in my life. My agents were very, they had control on most things in my life. My weight, my hair colour, my boyfriend, who I was dating, things like that. It was all very controlled. What I was wearing, everything was controlled for me and planned out for me. And I just needed something that they couldn't, mess with.
But why did you accept that control? And it's a specific question, because you've already told me that you don't like being told what to do, you don't like being shouted at, it normally make you go the other way. Yeah. So how come you were accepting of being controlled at work?
I think I rebelled in other ways, and so that made me feel like I had control. When I I was going out and, you know, drinking, doing all these things, I felt like, well, I've got this, you know, so I have that control in my life. But yeah, the other things, I remember they said, you know, we don't want you to get any tattoos. And so I got a tattoo, and then, you know, it was all these little things. And then they were like, we don't want you to get any surgery. And I got my boobs done. And so there were little ways where I was just like, you know, and then I colored my hair pink at one point. I was just trying to, because they were trying to mold me so badly into Kate Moss part 2, you know, this person that is, you know, gonna be like a successful supermodel. And I just never saw that for myself. And I know that there could have been an angle which would have been taken that I would have been like happy in. And now I'm working with brands that I actually really enjoy working with, and I'm with a new agency, and they've asked me, you know, where do you want to go in your career? Instead of like, right, this is where you're going to go. This is what we see for you.
When you first started, where did you want to go? Because I guess if you're getting booked in those big cities, you know, those big brands, I mean, it must have been very natural to you know, to think, well, I can follow in Kate's footsteps, or I can be, you know, but you never thought in those terms. You were just kind of just going with each job and each day, and
exactly, yeah,
getting another 14 grand to spend.
Yeah, another 14. Do you know what? And I am so, and I don't want ever to come across like I'm, you know, not grateful for what happened. Like I really am, and it's got me where I am today. And you know, I just think it could have been handled better. And I think the people that are working in this industry need to take care a little bit more of the young people coming into this industry, because it is a lot to be in this fashion industry, in this, you know, modeling industry. It's a lot of, you know, pressures, and it's a lot of, you know, weight and being the right way and being the right look and having the right fashion sense. And it is a lot of pressure. And for a young person trying to figure out who they are, it completely, I had no idea who I was. When I left that industry, I was like, I'm still, you know, kind of in it. But when I left my agency, I didn't know who I was, because they kind of sculpted me to be this person. And I thought, I don't even know what I like. I don't even know the clothes that I really like. I don't even know, you know, what I want to do with my life. I had no idea. It was so lost.